I want anyone who's been through what I've been through or anything similar to know this. It's time to take your power back. It's time to find your voice. It's time to start being happy and living again. This isn't about them. It isn't about anyone else. This is about you. Finding your voice, keeping it, and never letting anyone silence it again. It's about reclaiming your power, loving yourself, and living your life to the fullest. Hey YouTube. Hey, what's going on? My name is Indigo, and welcome to my channel. So if you guys have been hanging in thus far, this is vlog number 6. The life, trauma, and trials of my life. And I'm sharing this because I do have a method to my madness, but I wanted to share my stories. I've been thinking about this for years. I actually started writing my autobiography. There's a lot that I'm saving for my book. And no, this is not because it's not even written yet. It's just in manuscript. But I really wanted to tell my story in hopes to help someone else, to help someone else feel like they're not alone. Because I felt alone. I felt alone plenty of times. And forgive me if I get emotional. I don't want anyone to feel alone. Um, so I'm at the part where I had my first panic attack. I wouldn't wish anything like that on my worst enemy. Anything like that. I didn't even know I was already suffering depression. All for years. I was suffering from depression for years. I felt like I had no voice to come out of me. People would say anything to me, anything they wanted, anything they wished, and I would not respond back with any type of fight. Scared to get beat up by my husband, scared to get repercussions back from my mother-in-law, who was another bully to me. I remember cooking one day in my apartment. I was making mashed potatoes, steak, and peas, right? And I was in the middle of the mashed potatoes. I don't like no thick mashed potatoes. I don't like thick mashed potatoes. So yeah, it wasn't. It was good the way I like them, the way I've been, feeding her son and my kids. She comes in. You don't even know how to make mashed potatoes. Some things are watery. And at that point, I'm not gonna lie. I said, you don't have to eat them. I'm pretty sure I said it more like playfully, but anyway, I said it, and I felt like, yeah, you know. But she laughed it off. So I guess she thought, I guess I didn't say it as, you know, I guess forceful or, but anyway. So that was something that was something his mother, mind you, my mother-in-law said to me. I remember one time I mopped their house. I mopped the bathrooms and the downstairs bathroom and stuff like that. It was something, I don't know, but I wanted to clean up. I vacuumed and everything, the living room and everything, wiped the dust, everything, and mopped. She comes in and says, "You mopped? Oof, it smells so mildew in here." It was a brand new mop. I kid you not, y'all. It was a brand new mop. But she had to say something to me. She had to say something to me all the time. You know, I don't know if she was mad because I took her son, because I didn't understand why she always had to say something to me. She knew my mother was on drugs, right? One day, my mother had the kids. That was one of the times I was working. And I know I'm going back a little bit, but I'm remembering, my mother had the kids. She said she's going to give them hot dogs. She's going to give them hot dogs for dinner. Are you kidding me? Your mother's not going to feed them. She's a crackhead. That's what she said to me. And I just sat on the steps and I'm cursing her out to myself. I didn't say anything. Like I said, I was afraid of repercussions. I don't know what, maybe the abuse, because that's his mother, and yeah, so that was something I dealt with. But anyway, back to my apartment. So yeah, um after I found out about the panic attacks, I got home and I, told him. He was home by then with the kids, and I told him. And for a while, like he seemed like he understood, right? He seemed like he was gonna be, supportive. Like he's cooking more, he's cleaning. Um, I'm just feeling all kinds of just down, worse, depressed, horrible, scared for the next one. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I'm just feeling horrible. And he, you know, I that night, even though I was feeling horrible, still wanted to have sex. I did it because I didn't feel well, didn't feel great, but I did it anyway because that's what he wanted. I didn't say no. I didn't want to, but I didn't say no. And in the middle of it, I had I had like an attack. I had an attack. So he after he was finished, after he got off of me, I was in a panic because my ears clogged up. Like my ears clogged up. I was confused, dizzy, and just like horrible. And he just like, "You okay? What's wrong with you?" You know? And I was like, I shouldn't have did that because I don't feel good. Like I shouldn't have, slept with you. I didn't feel good. So this is all going on. Um yeah, I would try to go. So there was times I didn't want to lay in a bed with him. It felt like he was taking my power. Like I felt like I can physically feel him draining me. So sometimes I wouldn't sleep in the bed with him. It was so uncomfortable at times. I would go in the living room and try to sleep on the couch. I'm sleeping and I can hear him walking down the hallway. Why are you sleeping on the couch? You gonna what you want somebody to like he said no, he didn't say what you he said, you trying to sneak somebody in here? Because the living room is right next to the door. How first of all, our door squeaked. The front door squeaked when it opens, you know. That was first of all. Second of all, why would I even take a chance? So you can like what? Does that doesn't even make sense. That's how controlling and jealous and just insecure he was. And I didn't know, like I didn't see it for that at that time. But that's what it was. So come in the bed, come in the bed. I would go into bed. Lots of times I slept on the couch. Lots of times I had these panic attacks. I started writing. I actually just started writing. I don't know what made me. Well, I used to write before anyway. When I was younger, I would write poems and things like that. So yeah, I started back. I don't know if it was God that told me to do this because it helped a lot. It helped a lot. I started writing poems again, and I wrote some about him. He thought it was a flattery poem, but it was basically calling him all kinds of names. But it was subliminal. It was coded. It was parables, like, he thought it was, oh, it's about me. It's about you. It was about you, all right. But you didn't know I was calling you all kinds of names. But so 2 years later, a year and a half later, right? I, you know, they wasn't coming as much as they, was in the beginning, right? But I still had, okay, so I sent off for this tape by a lady called Lucinda Bassett. She was, you know how the infomercials, will come on. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and she came on and she was talking about what happened, her very first panic attack, and what happened. She had a tragedy in her life, traumatic experience, and end up having panic attacks. And so she researched and worked her way through it. And I sent off for the free tapes, right? And when I got the free tapes, it basically, the crazy thing is, not crazy, but the amazing thing is, the things that they were saying on the tapes was basically what I had started kind of doing. Like, you have to, like, reroute your mind, rewire your mind. You have to think more positively. Take things day by day, things like that, right? Um, so yeah, that helped a great deal. Like, the first tape helped a great deal. I was writing, so, but I still had problems when I would go into public. For some reason, my mind was playing tricks on me to the point where, like, it, yeah, it was like everybody staring at you. I just wanted to shrink at times. That's how it felt. I would sweat profusely. Mind you, at that time, I was taking the train a lot too. I remember one day, I guess when the train got crowded, it made me feel squeezed in. And I stood up and I was holding a pole, but I'm sweating and I'm like, and I'm looking around. Is everybody looking at me? Anybody looking at me? And this lady was staring at me like, cause she could see I'm going through something. She probably thought I was, like, probably thought I was crazy or something. But I looked at her and I said, well, cause I didn't know what else to do. I felt so bad after everything was over with, but I didn't know. I'm like, please, like, cause staring at me, it seemed like it made things worse. Okay, so um, needless to say, I tried to avoid crowds as much as I could. But guess what? There's parent teacher night, and guess who was doing it? Me. I was in a marriage. It basically for him to use me as concubine, use me, whenever he wanted to. Come and go when he wanted to, because every time we would get into arguments, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of times I picked those fights so he could, because I knew he would leave and go to his parents' house. And when he would leave, that's when I felt like I had breath in me. Believe it or not, literally, like literally. That's when I felt like I had breath in me. So I would pick a fight with him so he can go. You know, it was points where I was just like, I didn't want to really be around him. So yeah, and I'm doing the teacher parent meetings. I'm going up to school plays and things, even dealing with all of this. But I noticed that sitting down in crowds made it feel worse. So I would stand up, and try to hold my composure, hold myself, let people see me. I had this thing where I would shake my left leg, like just like this, like shake my left leg. For some reason, it felt like it helped. But anywho, guess what, guys? I found out I was pregnant a year and a half later, like I said, with my sixth child. So there's 4 boys and 1 girl. And I found out I was pregnant. Um, First of all, I still was, getting my monthly. I felt everything was regular until one day I couldn't keep water down. I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink red anything. I couldn't like eat burgers. I couldn't everything was coming up, and I'm like, huh? You know, because we weren't even active a lot at that time. And then I went across the street to the doctor's office. Um, Took a little, quick little pregnancy test, and then she calls me 3 days later and was like, "Mommy, you're pregnant. Yeah, you're pregnant." I'm like, "What? What? I'm pregnant? Like what?" Now, understand that I already had a little tummy, you know, some muffinage going on. So yeah, this time I'm like, I don't want to have any more kids by him. I want him gone out of my life. I couldn't stand him anymore. So I went to the abortion clinic. When I got there, they the lady did the sonogram and she turned the screen away from me and everything like that. She did the sonogram to see how far, because I didn't know. I just knew I was pregnant. She told me I was 22 weeks. 22 weeks. She said I was 22 weeks. Now, mind you, it's not computing in my head just how many freaking months I am far gone, right? She says, "Oh, there's a clinic where you can do it up to 6 months." And I'm like, why is she telling me that for? Like, not doing it on me, right? So, mind you, I'm there by myself. He didn't go with me. Um, he he did pick me up, but I had to wait, right? So I'm standing in the lobby of the place and I'm sitting over there like 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah. So I'm doing this math and it just like 5.5 months. I'm 5.5 months pregnant. 5. 5.5 months pregnant. 22 weeks. I'm sitting here like, there's no way. I can't get no. I can't get rid of my baby. What? I said, and the nerve of the lady to tell me that they got places up to 6 months. If it's not life and death, I'm going to sleep in the bed that I made. So I get in the car and I'm like, because I didn't want to have no more kids by this man. I was pretty much ready to leave him alone. So he's like, what happened? Like a dummy. What happened? I'm like, I'm 22 weeks pregnant, 5.5 months pregnant. And he's like, how did what? How did that happen? Like a retard. Oh, forgive me, y'all. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we get home and he doesn't say like what you gonna do, nothing, nothing, nothing. Because, he wants me to keep all his babies. He was in my mind, he was trying to trap me. He trapped me. He did trap me. But I mean I played a part. Yeah, I'm not gonna act like yeah, but all he's thinking about is sex. That's what he's thinking about. Did I give it to him? Absolutely did. Absolutely did. And my confusion and my stress and everything. And then he's like, it felt different. He's like, something about that didn't, it felt different. Like you weren't connected to me. Like I said, I didn't want to be bothered with him anymore. So yeah, it felt different. Um, yeah. So Um, that was pretty much the beginning of me starting to push him, preparing to be a single mother for all my kids. So, um, so like I said, 5.5 months pregnant. That pregnancy went so quickly. When I went to the school one day to go, my kids was one of my kids was having my son was having something like they had writing celebrations where they would write their own stories, and you parents would come up to celebrate that they wrote their own stories and drew their own little pictures and stuff. Second grade, third grade, I think he was in. Um, Anywho, I walked past the office sideways, right? Because I've been up to the school 50,000 times, but not knowing I was pregnant. Nobody else knew. I didn't know either. I walked past the office. One of the ladies said, "Miss Indigo, come here. You pregnant?" I had on this pink shirt, big old pink pregnant looking shirt, and I was like, "Yeah," and stuff. So she was like, "Yeah, like I said, it went so quickly because I was already almost through. I was almost in my third trimester. So it went so quickly. Everybody was like, "You had that baby mad quick?" Yeah. I almost, yeah, I would have had a, you know, if I wouldn't have went to the doctor, I would have just gave birth to a baby and been wondering what the heck happened. But yeah. So um, I had her, beautiful little baby girl, and yeah, by that time, yeah, I was pretty much done with him. So one day I just told him, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. You're not, I couldn't do it anymore. The cheating. Oh, that's another thing. I had his passcode to his voicemail, and the day first of all, when I went into labor, he was nowhere to be found. When I started my labor, I was on the phone with my sister and my childhood best friend, and he was nowhere to be found. So I'm going to continue this story. Um, don't worry, these parts are almost over. But I am going to continue the rest on the next video because I don't want to have the videos too long for you guys. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening to my story, and I'll see you guys later. Be blessed.